What if drinking more water isn't actually solving the problem? In fact, what if, in some cases, it's not enough? After 60, many people are told the same thing. Just drink more water, stay hydrated, carry a bottle, drink throughout the day. And while that advice sounds simple and even correct, it may not be the full picture, because I've had patients tell me, "Doctor, I'm drinking water all day, but I still feel tired. I wake up at night. I don't feel properly hydrated." And that's where things start to get interesting, because hydration is not just about how much water you drink, it's about how your body uses that water. My name is Dr. Adrian Keller, and today we're going to talk about what your body actually needs after 60 when it comes to hydration. Because once you understand this, you may start looking at something as simple as a glass of water very differently. Let's take a closer look. Let me ask you something. Do you drink water throughout the day and still feel like something isn't quite right? Maybe you've experienced things like feeling tired even when you're trying to stay hydrated, waking up at night more often than you used to, a dry mouth even after drinking water, or a general sense that your energy just isn't the same. And naturally, the first thought is, I just need more water, so you drink more. Another glass, another bottle, trying to do the right thing, but the way your body responds doesn't seem to match the effort. And that's where many people start to get confused, because hydration is supposed to make you feel better, not the same, and definitely not worse. I've had many patients tell me, "Doctor, I'm doing everything I've been told, but I still don't feel properly hydrated." And that's the key point, because what most people think of as hydration is only part of the picture. And once you understand what's missing, you'll start to see why simply drinking more water doesn't always solve the problem. Now let's put this into perspective. Hydration is essential. Your body depends on it for almost everything: circulation, temperature control, organ function. And yes, drinking water is important, but here's where we need to make a distinction. There's a difference between being hydrated and simply drinking water. For many people under normal conditions, those two things are closely connected. You drink water, your body uses it, and everything works as expected. But after 60, that relationship can start to change, because your body doesn't process and regulate fluids in exactly the same way it used to. So you may still be drinking water, even doing everything right, but not getting the same result. That's when it becomes a problem. Not because water is wrong, but because something else is missing. And that's the part most people are never told. So instead of asking, "Am I drinking enough water?" a better question is my body actually using the water I'm drinking? Because once you start thinking about it that way, everything begins to shift. Now let's look at one of the biggest misconceptions that leads people in the wrong direction. One of the most common pieces of advice people hear is this: just drink more water. And on the surface, that makes sense. If you feel dehydrated, you drink more. Simple. But here's the problem. That advice assumes that hydration is only about quantity. More water in, better hydration. But the body doesn't work like that, because hydration is not just about how much you drink. It's about how your body absorbs, distributes, and retains that fluid. I've seen people carry water bottles everywhere, drink constantly throughout the day, and still feel tired, low on energy, or not fully hydrated. And when that happens, the instinct is to drink even more. But in some cases, that can actually make things worse. Not because water is harmful, but because something else is missing from the equation. And that missing piece is what most people never think about. So instead of asking, "How much water should I drink?" we need to start asking, "What does my body actually need to stay properly hydrated?" Because once you understand that, you stop chasing the wrong solution. Now let's look at what actually changes in the body after 60. Because this is where everything starts to make sense. After 60, your body doesn't stop working, but it does start working differently. And when it comes to hydration, those changes matter more than most people realize. The first change is thirst perception. As we age, the body becomes less sensitive to thirst signals, which means you may not feel thirsty even when your body actually needs fluid. So instead of responding naturally, you have to be more intentional. The second change involves the kidneys. Your kidneys are responsible for regulating fluid balance. They decide how much water to keep and how much to eliminate. Over time, that system can become less efficient, which means fluid balance becomes more sensitive and easier to disrupt. The third change is how your body handles electrolytes. Minerals like sodium and potassium play a key role in how water moves in and out of your cells. And as your body changes, maintaining that balance becomes more important. I often explain it like this. When you're younger, your body can correct small imbalances quickly, but after 60, those small imbalances can last longer and affect how you feel. That's why some people can drink plenty of water and still feel off, because it's not just about the water anymore. It's about how your body manages it. Now let's take a closer look at what hydration really means, because this is where most people get it wrong. So what does proper hydration actually mean? Because most people define it in a very simple way. If I drink water, I'm hydrated. But in reality, hydration is not just about water entering your body. It's about what happens after you drink it. For your body to stay properly hydrated, that water needs to be absorbed, distributed, and retained in the right places. And that process depends on more than just water. It depends on balance. I often explain it like this. Think of hydration like filling a system, not just a container. If you pour water into a system, but the system can't hold on to it properly, that water passes through without doing what it's supposed to do. And that's exactly what can happen in some cases. People drink more and more water, but their body doesn't retain or use it efficiently, so they end up in a cycle. Drink, eliminate, still feel off, and they assume the solution is to drink more. But the issue is not always the amount, it's the balance. Because without the right conditions inside your body, water alone isn't always enough. Now, let's talk about the key factor that makes this balance possible. And this is something many people have heard of, but don't fully understand. That key factor is electrolytes. Now, that word might sound technical, but the concept is actually simple. Electrolytes are minerals in your body, like sodium, potassium, and magnesium, and they play a critical role in how your body manages fluids. Because water doesn't just move freely in and out of your cells, it follows signals, and those signals come from electrolytes. I often explain it like this. Water is the vehicle, but electrolytes are the system that directs where that water goes. They help regulate how much fluid stays inside your cells, how much stays in your bloodstream, and how your body maintains balance overall. Without the right balance of these minerals, your body can struggle to use water effectively, which means you can be drinking water, but not truly hydrating your system. And this becomes more important after 60, because as we mentioned earlier, the body's ability to regulate fluid and minerals becomes more sensitive over time. So even small imbalances can affect how you feel, energy levels, muscle function, overall comfort. Now, this doesn't mean you need anything extreme, but it does mean that hydration is not just about water, it's about water working together with the right internal balance. Now let's look at what can happen when that balance is off, even if you're drinking plenty of water. So what happens when you focus only on water and ignore that balance? In some cases, your body struggles to hold on to the fluid you're drinking, which means that instead of being properly absorbed, the water moves through your system more quickly. You drink, and shortly after, you need to use the bathroom. And even after that, you may still feel thirsty, low on energy, or just not fully hydrated. I've seen people fall into this pattern. They feel off, so they drink more water. But because the balance isn't there, their body doesn't use it efficiently, so they eliminate more and continue to feel the same. It becomes a cycle. Drink more, but not feel better. Now I want to be clear, water is not the problem. Your body needs water, but in some situations, water alone may not be enough to support proper hydration, especially if your body is lacking the balance it needs to manage it. And this is where many people start to realize the issue isn't just how much they're drinking, it's how their body is responding. Now, let's look at some signs that may indicate your hydration isn't as effective as it should be. So how can you tell if your body isn't using water as effectively as it should? There are a few signs that show up quite often, and most people don't immediately connect them to hydration. The first is frequent urination. You drink water, and shortly after, you need to go again. That can be normal sometimes, but when it happens consistently, it may indicate your body isn't retaining fluid efficiently. The second is persistent thirst. Even after drinking water, you still feel like something is missing. Not intense thirst, but a subtle, ongoing feeling. The third is low energy or fatigue. Hydration plays a role in how your body functions at a basic level, and when that balance is off, energy levels can be affected. The fourth is waking up at night, needing to get up to use the bathroom, or feeling restless during sleep. Again, not always a problem on its own, but when it becomes a pattern, it's worth paying attention. And finally, a general sense that your body feels off. Nothing specific, but not quite right. I've had many patients describe it exactly that way, and in some cases, hydration balance was part of the picture. Now again, these signs can have many causes, but when they appear together, it's worth looking a little deeper, because once you recognize the pattern, you can start making small adjustments that may improve how you feel. Now, here's something that might surprise you even more, because in some situations, the issue isn't just underhydration, but the opposite. In some cases, the issue isn't just not drinking enough water, it's actually drinking too much. Now, this might sound surprising, because most people are used to hearing, drink more water, stay hydrated, and that advice is generally helpful. But like anything in the body, balance matters, because when you drink large amounts of water without enough electrolytes, you can begin to dilute the minerals your body depends on. Not dramatically, but enough to affect how your system functions. I've seen people drink water constantly throughout the day, thinking they're doing the right thing, but still feeling low energy, lightheaded at times, or just not fully balanced. And they don't understand why, because from their perspective, they're doing everything correctly. But again, hydration is not just about volume, it's about balance. Now, this doesn't mean water is harmful, and it doesn't mean most people are overhydrating, but it does highlight something important. More is not always better, especially if the body isn't receiving what it needs to properly manage that fluid. So instead of focusing only on how much you drink, we need to focus on what your body actually needs to stay balanced. Let's talk about that next. So what does your body actually need to stay properly hydrated after 60? It comes down to three things, not just water, but balance, timing, and support. The first is balance. Water works best when it's supported by the right levels of electrolytes, minerals like sodium and potassium that help your body absorb and retain fluid effectively. The second is timing. Instead of drinking large amounts at once, your body responds better to steady intake throughout the day. Small amounts, consistently, allow your system to process and use fluid more efficiently. And the third is support from what you eat, because hydration doesn't come only from what you drink. It also comes from foods, especially those naturally rich in water and minerals. Things like fruits, vegetables, foods that contribute to hydration in a more balanced way. I often explain it like this. Your body doesn't just need water poured into it, it needs the right conditions to use that water properly. And when those conditions are in place, you don't need extreme amounts, you just need consistency. Now let's translate this into something simple, something you can actually apply in your daily routine. So how do you actually apply this in your daily life? The goal isn't to complicate things, it's to make small adjustments that your body can respond to consistently. The first is to drink water throughout the day, not all at once, not in large amounts at night, but gradually, allowing your body to absorb and use it more effectively. The second is to avoid overloading your system late in the evening. Drinking too much fluid close to bedtime can increase nighttime awakenings and disrupt your sleep. The third is to support hydration through your diet. Include foods that naturally contain water and minerals, like fruits and vegetables. These help your body maintain fluid balance in a more stable way. And finally, pay attention to how your body responds, because your body will often tell you whether something is working or not. Energy levels, sleep quality, how you feel throughout the day. I often tell my patients, you don't need to chase perfect hydration. You need to build a routine that your body can work with, because when hydration is balanced, everything else tends to feel more stable. Now let's bring everything together, because this final part is what truly matters. So let's bring this together. The idea that you should just drink more water is not wrong, but it's incomplete, because after 60, hydration is no longer just about quantity. It's about how your body uses that water. We talked about how your body changes over time, how fluid balance becomes more sensitive, how electrolytes play a key role, and how simply drinking more water doesn't always solve the problem. In some cases, it can even create new imbalances, not because water is harmful, but because your body needs more than just water to function properly. What it needs is balance. Water, combined with the right internal conditions to absorb, retain, and use it effectively. And the good news is, this doesn't require anything extreme, just small adjustments. Drinking steadily throughout the day, being mindful of timing, supporting your body through simple, consistent habits. Because over time, those small changes can make a meaningful difference in how you feel. If this video helped you, share it with someone who might benefit from it. And if you want more clear, practical insights like this, focused on helping you understand your body and improve your health. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Dr. Adrian Keller. Stay balanced, stay aware, and take care of your health. I'll see you in the next video.